fun time that preseason game was, right, guys? The Chicago Bears have an undrafted free agent from that game that not only has been showing out in practice, he showed out in this game, and he is just moving up this depth chart. And that guy is undrafted rookie running back, Ian Wheeler. He made the most of his opportunities in this preseason debut. He accounted for 2 of Chicago's 4 touchdowns on the game, and this was just fantastic to see. I'm going to go to this story on Bears Wire, kind of going through some of the highlights of this game. You guys, information on Wheeler is everywhere. He just had such a great game, but check out this source. It's really good. So Wheeler, he showed up in a big way against the Bills. As you guys know, he's an undrafted free agent rookie. He had himself a fourth quarter, right? 2 rushing touchdowns on back-to-back drives, and it really put the game out of reach for the Bears. And honestly, this game was a blowout. Granted, it's preseason, but it was a blowout. And I could talk all day about Caleb Williams' performance. It was fantastic. But I want to talk about what we saw with this undrafted free agent. And his first score came on a handoff on first and goal. He ran it in for an easy score. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it just looked that way. He took the handoff and he barreled into the end zone for 7 yards. He carried a few Bills defenders with him for good measure. I was just a bit surprised to see this. I was a bit surprised to see the power that he runs with. Pleasantly surprised, and I'd really love to have this guy on the team grab this last running back spot. And in order to do that, he's going to have to move up a spot, and I'm going to talk about that as well. This was Wheeler's first game action. He missed out on the Hall of Fame game last week with an injury. There's been a lot of buzz surrounding him throughout camp, and I've been one of those guys buzzing about him. And this running back situation, it appears to be fluid on the back end, right? Wheeler could surprise these next couple of games and steal this final spot away from someone like Travis Homer. I think it's a little less likely, or even somebody like Khalil Herbert. But this Travis Homer spot, I think it's up for grabs. So let's look at how the Bears were set up for this run. The score is set up thanks to a 34-yard completion from fellow UDFA Austin Reed to wide receiver Dante Pettis. Score put the Bears up 26-6. And as far as Reed, I really like Reed as a developmental prospect. I mean, he has a great arm. He was a fun player in college, but I don't really think he's going to land on the 53. That's just the current lay of the land. Rippon blew the doors off during the Hall of Fame game. Bagent, he continued to be solid in this game, not spectacular, but nothing to make him lose his job. And anyways, I really like Reed, watch him in the preseason, but I don't think he's going to make the team. So moving on with Wheeler. Wheeler wasn't satisfied with just 1 touchdown, guys. I can't wait to talk about this defense. They came up with a huge 4th down stop, but Wheeler and the offense got the ball back and continued to just pile on. I know it's preseason, guys, but man, this game was just dominant. Wheeler was involved in all 3 plays on the drive. He took the final one 8 yards to the left for a touchdown, and this run to the left, it showed his ability to turn the corner and once again run with purpose, run with power. He just looked really good. And it's really interesting that he hasn't gotten much action in the return game. I expected that. I mean, originally, I thought that's the main way he'd make an impact to make this roster, but something new's here. He could be a useful piece offensively, regardless of return ability, and with the return game being supplemental to that. And if you remember, the Bears had just a ton of injury issues at running back last year. Having someone like Wheeler would have been a huge blessing to this team. And it was this final score of the game. The Bears winning 33-6 in a dominant preseason game. But for Wheeler, he had an impressive debut. 5 times for 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. So coming into this game, I'd say running back Wheeler, he opened Saturday as the team's 5th and final running back. But his impressive performance against the Bills, I think that's going to result in him moving up a slot in the pecking order. Moving up a slot is really all this guy needs to do to make the 53. And you know he was undrafted out of Howard University. Didn't see the field until the team's final 2 drives in the fourth quarter, but this back made the most of his limited opportunities. Once again, 5 carries for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns, scored from 8 yards, 7 yards out. And it's just this level of physicality that's not often seen on these roster bubble players. And 8.6 yards per carry, that's a testament to how he looked in this game, how he's able to avoid the first tackler. And it's the one slot movement that he's pushing for. That's going to be enough to make the 53. And if we talk about that slot, obviously we've got Swift. Obviously we've got Herbert, Roshan Johnson. With all practicality, these guys are locked for the roster. For the roster, I can't talk, guys. Wheeler's likely competing with Travis Homer once again. Homer didn't have a bad game himself, but Wheeler walked away with more production than the former Seattle Seahawk. Homer is solid on special teams, but it just seems kind of stale to move on with Travis Homer. I think it's Wheeler. Wheeler are likely to continue to get good looks in the backfield throughout this preseason. He could be the answer to help fill out this position group, just a touch more physicality and aggressiveness. And I want to continue to see him show out in practice. And hey, this is exciting to see what happens. This is a really positive thing. You've got this starting offense rounding out to be a dominant unit. Man, if you saw those throws, I'm sure you did, that Caleb Williams made, they were next level. They were on the run. They were stepping up in the pocket. He also improvised for a nice scramble. This running back stable, super solid. Swift took a pass for a long 40-plus yard gain. You're going to see this on Hard Knocks. But I'm just looking back to last year. We had so many running back injuries. And once again, having someone like Wheeler there, having even Khalil Herbert there as a potential number 3, how big of a difference does that make? And we're actually going from a team that was in a total teardown a couple of years to now this is a team with actual depth. You've got guys like Colin Johnson showing out as that number 5 receiver. Tyler Scott, he had kind of a rough game, didn't he? The only interesting thing is the return game. What's going to happen here? Because I know in the preseason, the Bears, among other teams, they're not really showing all the wrinkles, all of their plans for this return game. So it seems a little milquetoast, right? It seems a little boring. And you've also got Velus Jones playing primarily at running back lately. And Velus Jones was doing Velus Jones stuff, right? He muffed that punt just to pick it up again and still get a gain, but still not inspiring. You guys let me know what's up. I've been gone for a few days taking care of some family problems, but you know what? Things are going well. This offseason is going well. Bear down, and I will talk to you soon. See you in the comments.